The left says that Tim Walz is cuddly. That's their term for him, cuddly. And I have to say it's kind of true. He's got this Santa Claus-like look to him, except this Santa Claus could potentially be a serial killer. That's the problem. He's kind of terrifying. He's sort of like, they used to say Ted Bundy was handsome, but he was a serial killer. So this is like if Santa Claus was a serial killer. I mean, this could be a movie. This guy is so creepy, so terrifying, because he's like a communist, but he looks like Santa Claus. So it's absolutely terrifying.
That was just yesterday. Newsmax guest Chris Kohls went on that bizarre tirade about Tim Walz looking like a serial killer Santa. I think he just said he looked like Santa, and there was a 1 second pause, and he's like, wait a minute, there's no way on this network I can let something kind of nice be said about anybody on that ticket. Santa, but serial killer Santa, and just had to immediately slam at the host like, oh, okay, yeah, he can look like Santa if it's a murderous Santa. But does he have a point? No.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
But just for fun, let's play devil's advocate. There actually was a serial killer that dressed up like Santa in an episode of Tales from the Crypt titled "And All Through the House." Here he is. Look at that frightening picture. But is there any resemblance to Tim Walz? Let's see them side by side. Oh my God, spitting image. Unbelievable. That is very impressive. Billy Bob Thornton's character in Bad Santa wasn't a serial killer, but just a thief. Is that any closer? Wow, still zero resemblance whatsoever. Of course, there is only one true Santa that conservatives believe in, and that, of course, is prominent conservative Tim Allen, who starred in the Santa Claus. And that one actually does look a little bit like Tim Walz, but they couldn't criticize that version of Santa, so they had no choice but to avoid putting that comparison out into the discourse.
I do know someone that has serial killer eyes that's in this race. Can we see a picture of that guy? He's got that intense look combined with eyeliner. Makes him a little, let's see more pictures, see if, this is probably the picture okay, well, you got that. All right, let me see more. Yeah, that's the one where he picks you up in the van. Don't go in the van, okay? But of course, that's the worst thing in the world. There he is in drag, and obviously, he would ruin the Olympics and all children. But oh wait, that doesn't apply to Republicans. Never mind. Okay, so of course it's a hilarious story. Really, evil serial killer Santa. And when I say JD Vance's serial killer eyes, I don't believe he's an actual serial killer. I'm kidding. But these guys are not kidding. He's terrifying communist. Really, communist. Terrifying. But the thing is, Ben, they can't really help themselves. I watched the whole segment. Later, that same guy comes back and he's like, I mean, he doesn't look, I don't believe he's radical left, but he's acting like he's radical left because he wants to be with Kamala Harris. You know why they keep saying this stuff about how he's cuddly and Santa, and they don't really believe he's radical left, because they're like, I don't get it, he looks just like us. He seems like a good white male. So that's why they're throwing in the communists at the end. Like, he looks like a good guy because he's a white male, but he isn't. He's terrifying serial killer communist.
Yes, he puts off Santa vibes. He's Jesus-like in his demeanor, so he must clearly be a secret communist trying to kill us all. That's all you can surmise from Kamala Harris, who chose him and flips her race like a chameleon every 2 months. I mean, they just live in this completely wacky world where they don't care. It seems like they don't even care about the issues. They don't even care about their quality of life. They don't want to discuss it. They're all just straight up 100% propaganda machines for a campaign of people who also straight up do not want to improve their lives and do not want to focus on issues. They just want to demonize based on completely invented out of thin air, like out of a science fiction novel, storylines that just demonize these people in completely invented ways. It's just wild, the level of delusion and the full buy-in from people on that side.
And so, like, for example, when people on the left call Ted Cruz a Zodiac killer, we don't actually think he's the Zodiac killer, okay? I just want to be clear, right? So, but what do we follow that up with like, it's because he's a secret, I don't know, whatever the hell we're supposed to say, what would be the equivalent of communist for them, etc. No, you say, hey, look, he ran from Texas when it got cold and people were dying and you needed your elected officials to help you, and he went on vacation in Cancun. He fights for corporate tax cuts while pretending to be a populist. There's actual substance once you get past, the kidding around about Zodiac killers, etc. So what's their substance on Tim Walz, on why he's the evil Santa? Nothing. They got all they used to. Okay, so they say he's a communist, presumably because what? Of the communists care more about economic issues, the economic policies that he passed in Minnesota. He passed paid family leave. That polls at 84% of Americans, not communists, and 74% of Republicans.
He gave free lunch to children, and only a monster serial killer communist would do that. He wants people waiting in line for toilet paper next.
Yeah, and again, that polls around 70%. So if you want to call him a commie for letting poor kids eat lunch, well, then you're gonna have to call 70% of Americans commies. And by the way, I would hope 100% of Christian leaders who would also want to feed poor kids.
But of course, they're probably gonna cover his, as this campaign rolls on, his free lunch program as Tim Walz was trying to give tasty food to kids. What was he trying to do? Is he trying to get them on his side, inside his van? No, this is a statewide lunch program. So there's that.
Yeah. All right, well, when you've gotten your audience used to absurdity, as Newsmax has, that's what they dine on, if you will. So if you just said, hey, you know what, we don't want paid family leave because corporations would have to pay $5 more for these goddamn moms to take care of their goddamn babies, well, you wouldn't have much of an audience, would you? And so that's why they have to pretend that he's evil Santa.
100%. Yeah, it's just so blatant. They know they can't win on the positions they take. They know that if they actually straight up said what they just fervently believe and fight very hard behind the scenes for, they wouldn't get hardly a vote. And so they just lie, and they want you not to believe your own eyes. And it's, aside from being evil, it's just shockingly effective with like near half the country.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a young Turk.